Hello everyone, we are going to talk about the quadratic formula today. The quadratic formula is another way of solving a quadratic equation. The nice thing is this one works for every single quadratic equation that you come across. So the quadratic formula is on the screen in blue. It is x equals a negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. The steps to solve using this method are right below. Step 1, change it to standard form. Step 2, plug in the values for a, b, and c. Step 3, you are going to simplify the numbers that are inside the square root as much as possible. Step 4, write out the two answers and simplify if necessary. So let's jump into our first example. We have x squared plus 6x plus 3 equals negative 5. So step 1 says put it in standard form. So right now I have the negative 5 at the end here that I need to get rid of. To get rid of it, I'm going to use my inverse operation, or my opposites. So I'm going to add a 5 to both sides. I'm going to put it under the like term, and then bring down whatever's left. So we have our new equation is in standard form, it equals 0, so we can move on to step 2. So step 2 is identifying a, b, and c. So a is the number that is with the x squared, and if I look, I don't see any number in front of the x squared, but I know that there is an invisible 1. So I know a is 1, b is the number with the plane x, or the linear x, that is a 6, and c is an 8. So now what I want to do is plug it into my formula. So my formula again, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. So all I'm going to do is go through and replace all of my letters with the 3 numbers I picked out from the top, 1, 6, and 8. Okay, so I have a negative b, and b is a 6, plus or minus the square root of 6 squared minus 4 times the a value, which is 1, times the c value, which is 8. And then all of that goes over 2 times the a value, which was 1. So now what I want to do is simplify what's inside my square root. Again, my square root is this symbol right here, so I want to simplify all of these numbers right here. So I'm going to take this kind of one step at a time. So I know 6 squared is 36, and then right here, let's circle this for you guys. Oh, I'm sorry. So we are focusing on that negative 4 times 1 times 8, and I'm going to multiply all 3 of those at the same time. So that is a negative 32. So I'm going to continue simplifying, bring down my 2 times 1, which is just 2, so I'm going to leave this as just 2 at the bottom here. Now I'm going to continue simplifying my square root symbol, which again is still right here. I have a negative 6 plus or minus the square root. 36 minus 32 gives me a 4 all over 2. Now keep simplifying that square root sign. I know that the square root of 4 is just plain 2. So I'm going to put negative 6 plus or minus 2 all over 2. So if you notice, the only thing that changes through those steps was the numbers inside your square root sign. So we are down to our last step. Since our square root symbol is gone, we are going to write out our 2 different answers. So remember, the plus or minus sign right here tells us that we have 2 answers. So I'm going to write those 2 out. I have negative 6 plus 2 over 2 and negative 6 minus 2 over 2. Now I'm just going to go ahead and simplify both of those. So up top I have a negative 4 over 2. Divide that equals a negative 2. Simplify my second fraction here. I have a negative 8 over 2. When I simplify that, I get a negative 4. So my 2 final answers for this one, we have x equals negative 2 and x equals -4. And that is how you solve using your quadratic formula.